Now, welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we are going to be looking at the stable electronic structures or stable electronic configurations for what we term to be noble gases. So, in the previous video, we were talking about valences and saying that valences are the outermost electrons or electrons which are in the outermost shell. So in this lesson, we are going to borrow some aspects of valences, and the thing that we are going to be talking about is that we're going to be talking about valences where they have the maximum number of electrons. For example, if we have an atom and then it has only one shell and its maximum number of electrons that can be filled in the first shell is 2. For example, helium, like this one. Helium, it has 2 electrons which are there, and within the 2 electrons it has filled up to maximum. So when it fills up to maximum, there is something that happens to it, and that is what we are studying in this video. So going to our first point, it says that when an atom has a maximum number of electrons, in its outermost shell or in its valence shell, then it is stable and unreactive. In other words, nothing will happen to it. It will not react with water, it will not react with acid, it will not react with anything. It is basically stable, which suggests that if you find any atom reacting, it means that it has an unstable electronic we can say it has an unstable electronic structure. In other words, it doesn't have the maximum number of electrons in its outermost shell. So when it reacts, it's either going to take in such that it can have the maximum number, or it is going to give out. So when it comes to noble gases, they have the maximum. So studying helium, which is the one which has only 2 electrons, going to the explanation, it says that an atom with a maximum of 2 electrons at N1 or the first shell has a duplet electronic structure, and only helium has a duplet electronic structure. Duplet just means it only has 2 electrons. Then we go to the other one, which is neon. Neon, we are supposing that it has 8 electrons within its outermost shell, right? So for it to have 8 electrons in the outermost shell, we would have to know that there is also the inner shell, which is the first shell, which can only accommodate 2 electrons. So however, we go to the neon, and for neon, they are saying that an atom with a maximum of 8 electrons at the second shell, which is the last shell for neon, it has an octet electronic structure. An octet electronic structure is also known as the octet configuration. So octet configuration, it just means the valency will be 8 electrons, or the maximum number of electrons in the outermost shell will be 8 electrons. So we'll look at the octet configuration even in the reactions later on. You'll find how it really applies to other atoms which are not noble gases. For noble gases, they are just atoms. They have not joined with anything. They have not lost any electron. They have not gained any electron, but they're just like that. That's why we would then have to say that they are noble gases, or they are unreactive. Then we go further. We also have argon. So argon, it has a maximum number of electrons, which is 8, but then rather than being in the second shell, we find them being in the third shell, like this. We find them in the third shell, which is this one. So they will also have an octet configuration or an octet electronic structure. Going to our last 2 points, all elements in group 0 of the periodic table, group 0 is also called group 8. We say all the elements in group 0 or group 8 of the periodic table have stable electronic structures, which means they are called noble gases. In other words, we then have to say with the last points that they are inert and exist as monoatomic elements. In other words, what we are saying that they are inert means unreactive, and monoatomic therefore means it's only one atom that give the element. So you find in other elements such as like oxygen, it doesn't belong to the innate gases or the noble gases. It is like this, O2, and that's why we would say that oxygen is what is known as a diatomic molecule. So the concept of monoatomic and diatomic, it just means that the element is existing with how many number of electrons that are there. For inert gases, which are group 0 gases, or the noble gases, they only have one atom which they are with. So that concludes our lesson for innate. And to give a round sum for it, we just have to know that these guys are stable. When you go to your periodic table, look at the last column, you find out that those gases, let me just say like this, you have your periodic table, right? And then you have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and then you have 8. The column which has 8, all of these guys, they belong to noble gases, or they are group 8 gases, and those ones that are found there are unreactive and will not react. Whether you put them in whatever circumstance, they won't react. So thank you for watching the video. Do subscribe and support us, like our videos, and also share our videos with others. Thank you very much.